Hi, and welcome to Grama with Attitude. Today we're going to be talking about cell phones a little bit. Everybody has a cell phone today. Even people who don't seem to know how to use a cell phone have a cell phone. And I think most people need to get my cell phone etiquette talk. Everywhere you go today, someone has a cell phone stuck to the side of their head, or even some of those cool Star Trek pieces that are hanging there, and they wear these things to walk down the hall, and they're talking to themselves, and what most of them don't realize is they actually look like an escaped mental patient, because you're like, who the heck are they talking to? And you have a conversation with it, and you realize they're not even talking to you in the first place. Now, I realize that there are some really important bigwigs out there who are running, big companies and making big decisions and all that kind of stuff. But if I'm at the mall and someone almost rear ends me, and there's three teenage girls in there, and they have headbands on and a bunch of bangle bracelets, and they're listening to that bimbo Miley, I can assume that they're not probably launching any rockets anytime soon. So it might be a good idea to not be using your phone. First of all, you don't text while you're driving. And for some of you, it is hard to even talk while you're driving on your cell phone, because some of you have some driving skills that I am not sure, who taught you how to drive, but you definitely need to pay attention to the road. I'm sure that some of you are not aware that there's, when the talking goes on, there's these waves that come into your phone, and they can affect your brain. And it's like, oh, no, it's not going to bother you and everything else. Well, I tell you, just because, someone says that it's safe, you don't always believe them. It's like a microwave. Everybody says, oh, yeah, that's safe. And now you look and you see that, oh, geez, it's destroying your food when you eat it. And it's getting plastic in there that's causing problem for men and all kinds of things that we can't go in there to talk about now. And if money's to be made, some of that important information gets tossed under the carpet. And there's a lot of people out there who can't afford to lose any brain cells. Put your phone away when you're in somebody else's company. You're sitting there with another human being, and hopefully you guys remember what that is, because some of you on your cell phones, I don't think you even know what a human being is anymore. Talk to the people who are in front of you. Talk to the ones who are sitting around beside you. And nothing is more rude than when someone has decided to spend time with you, and you're like, oh, I got to talk on my cell phone, and they're sitting there like a bump on a log. It's just plain rude. You be present to the person when they've made time to spend with you. When you're in an office or a movie and things like that, don't be answering your cell phone. Shut it off. I don't want to hear it. And people, me or anybody else, I don't think wants to hear how, oh, Billy cheated, he cheated on Allison, and oh, I told so-and-so or whatever. Regardless of what you're seeing on reality TV, nobody wants to see your drama. Most oftentimes, we don't want to see that drama on TV either, and nobody wants to hear your problems and your drama, so keep it to yourself. Get a grip and keep it private. It's your business, not everyone else's. And this texting thing, well, first, it's illegal to do while you're driving nowadays, because so many idiots have run into somebody else, and people have gotten killed and everything else. And so, when this gray-haired lady comes along and you're driving your car, and all of a sudden I lay on my horn because I see you texting, don't be surprised if you run into somebody else or a fire hydrant, because it scares the crap out of you because you haven't been paying attention to the roads. And don't forget that people are driving around with cell phone, and they can call the cops on you. And you just might get a big, hefty ticket. So quit doing it. And the amount of honking that starts going on, if they're honking at people texting, it's bound to sound like a Chicago parade. I see it so much everywhere, going everywhere I drive nowadays. Texting is also not the way you handle something that's a hard issue with somebody else. It's a way of a coward. And if you can't call up and talk to someone, you're a coward. And this texting stuff. And if someone treats you that way, and you're having a bad time with them, and they decide to text you, well, it's a good time to figure out that it's time to ditch them. Ditch them. If you can't call and talk to someone like a grown-up, then at least be courteous enough to leave that person to someone else who has some character and some leadership. And if someone says don't call me, that's pretty much means the same thing as don't text me either. Don't send these stupid texts at all hours of the night. People need sleep nowadays. And parents, I got something to say to you too. Giving these phones to these kids who are 5 years old is just nonsense. You know, your job is to run the household and to give children healthy boundaries so they know what to do with themselves and to teach them. And sometimes they may act like they got big britches, but they don't. They got growing up to do, and that's what you're there for. You're there to be a teacher, not a buddy, and not to live through them and try to give them everything you didn't have as a child. So don't let them have a cell phone. It's like giving cookies to a cookie monster. They don't know when to quit. They don't know when to shut it off, and they're not mature enough for that. And the phones should be in your room overnight so kids can get some rest. Not to mention that when these kids get to be teenagers, they're like hyenas. They're just devious and they try to divide and conquer by talking to their friends at wee hours of the night of how they got away with stuff with their parents. And you're letting them do it by keeping their cell phones around them all the time. Too much communication and they can conspire and tire you out and overthrow you. They're demons at that age. Lastly, people need quiet time. There is so much technology bombarding us everywhere and noise going on all the time that we're going insane. And your mind needs quiet time. It needs, things to stimulate it, but it also needs quiet time. Time to think your own thoughts instead of listening to that stupid phone in your ear like it's Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio or something and it's your conscience. It's not. A phone is not something to be fooling around on all the time. Get a life, do some things, do some thinking and have some thoughts. You need ideas. You get ideas when it's quiet. You rejuvenate when it's quiet and get rest. So, you are one of a kind and you need time to yourself. So people get a grip with these stupid cell phones and start quit being so rude and use them like they should be. Emergencies and things like that. All right. If you have anything to say to me, don't forget that you can email me at gramawithattitude@yahoo.com. And I'll see you next time. And don't let me see you driving around talking on your phone, because if one more punk almost rear ends me at Christmas time, I'm about to come unglued with my umbrella. All right. See you next time.